Hey everyone, I want to talk about my personal OCD recovery habit plans, what I try to do to instill some sort of change in my habits in the very beginning, which was very minuscule, just basically getting out of bed in the morning. I know many people can relate to that. Why habits are so important for OCD and anxiety recovery, or really achieving anything in your life, and a little bit about letting go on certain things when, maybe you have a habit that is not really benefiting you, and maybe some people have been saying, hey, you might benefit from changing that, and really kind of jumping in and changing some of those problematic habits in our lives that we all have because we're fallible and we're humans. But before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you think about this, and if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. So I'm piggybacking this video off a recent video that Rob did that came out about 2 days ago, and I think January 13th, talking about the different habits that we see, especially him doing the coaching for 10 plus years, the things he does in his life, and the changes that he's made in order to kind of get him to a place where our productivity is quite high. Because when you're dealing with OCD and anxiety sufferers, we have other things going on in their lives. I own another business outside of this. I'm married. I have 2 dogs. I hike. It could be pretty full on. So having a good structure in my life that has a balance. One of my favorite quotes is, a great leader has systems and procedures, but is willing to adapt at any time. And I think that's really difficult for people, including myself. A lot of people have systems and procedures, not just in the business sense, but in their life. And then when things usually could benefit from change, they don't like change, because humans really don't like change, because change comes with discomfort. Now, let's look at some of the very small behavioral steps that I made in order to change my life around. So what are really the main things that go? That is exercise, work, and personal hygiene. Now, inside of exercise, we have resistance training, cardio, and anything in that, biking, swimming, the rower, hiking mountains, rollerblading, skateboarding, anything in that regard, playing tennis or sports. And then resistance training, CrossFit, bodybuilding, typical bodybuilding, weightlifting, Olympic style weightlifting, powerlifting, and there's obviously all crossover there. So I think that exercise has a lot of great benefits for structure. It teaches you how to withstand physical discomfort very well. A lot of people do go into the gym and they lift really light, and they don't want to kind of strain themselves too much, which is understandable, but it's not going to teach you a whole lot. I'm not saying you have to push yourself to failure every single time and act like you're a professional bodybuilder, but challenging your body, that's how your muscles grow in just a muscle sense. Challenging your body, overloading your muscles, and then progressing. It's called progressive overload in an exercise science term. And your life is pretty much the same way. You're going to be quite stagnant. Now, you can accept that stagnicity of your life and realize that you don't have to progress to this higher level, but rarely do we see anyone who recovers from OCD and anxiety-based disorders who have really, really poor lifestyle habits and structure. It's understandable why people don't want to change their structure, because it does take a good amount of willpower when you're suffering with OCD. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, which I talk about a lot, is work. Now, that involves getting back to work, staying at work and not leaving early, and or going in late chronically, sleeping and stuff like that. Work can have great personal meaning. I don't believe personally in universal meanings, because if there was a universal meaning to do good, right, to do good, then people just would do good. Bernie Madoff wouldn't have done what he did with the stock market. Different type of people who have hurt individuals over the year, war, tyranny, dictatorships, that wasn't to happen. So many people share a common value of being good in the workplace, but it's not a universal principle where it needs to be followed. And if it's not followed, you get struck by a lightning bolt and you die. That's not how it works. We have these value systems that usually progress society forward, but they're not universal. They're just universally accepted to a large degree, but they're not cold, hard facts. And that's a very, very interesting thing that keeps a lot of people stuck. So looking at the work, for me personally, work is a great sense of purpose. It teaches me frustration tolerance. It teaches me to work towards something higher than myself. And these are personal meanings that I give it. It's not a meaning, you got to pick a deed that's higher than yourself. You don't. You can be selfish your whole entire life. Probably not the best outcome, but you can do that. You can always tell the more rational you become how black and white humans are. And if you notice the way that we speak, we never speak in black and white terminologies, unless it's something like, don't do reassurance because reassurance doesn't help you. It doesn't. Cut compulsions because you can't have compulsions of recovery. So there obviously are exceptions to all these type of rules. And the third thing is personal hygiene. Now, personal hygiene goes from cooking your own food. Again, nothing wrong with eating at restaurants. But usually either people eat out all the time, fast food, highly palatable foods, or they don't eat at all. I was someone that ate way too much, way over my calories, which I could have accepted myself with that, but I realized it was a behavior that would more than likely benefit from change. So that was something I did. Brushing your teeth twice a day, flossing, the little things, because when you're flossing and you're suffering, it can feel so tough in that moment. Showering once or twice a day. I know some girls like to shower once a day because of their hair. I shower twice a day. Mouthwash. Getting a haircut, facial hair, not letting everything just go. A lot of people, understandably so, let their personal hygiene go to complete shit. And because they're already suffering so much, and even something like picking up a sticky note and writing on it can feel so tough. So those are really the main three, right? So the personal hygiene, the hygiene, work, and the exercise, and different forms of exercise. Now, many people ask me how my productivity stays quite high. I think it's very important to realize that my productivity stays quite high because my mission and my goals are large in what I like. So building a large business, helping spread OCD recovery over a 30, 50-year period. I think very long term. Now, my overall goal provides me with direction, personal direction, to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. And a lot of the things I have to accomplish, I don't particularly enjoy. I think it's very important to highlight that. Many people think that severely productive people, very high achievers, goal-oriented, enjoy every aspect of what they don't. They don't. They enjoy accomplishments and the feeling of reaching a goal, but then that feeling is fleeting, and then they do a new goal. This is why Ray Dalio's book Principles that Rob and I talk about, if you go on YouTube and type in Principles by Ray Dalio, there's a 28-minute cartoon that he made the whole book into 4 years ago. It talks about these valleys and these peaks of reaching a goal and then going back down and reaching a goal, and the feelings work the same way. So I do things strictly based off what I want to do and the goals and missions I want to achieve, and I never do them based off the way I feel. Like tomorrow, if I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which I usually do in the weekdays, I sometimes don't feel like going to the gym, but I know that going and accomplishing my goals can push my life forward in many different ways. And that's just one thing. So let's go over just what my daily structure looks like. That way I can give you an idea. I'm not saying you have to start with this. This is personally for me. I don't give goals and recommendations. Everyone else wants to have their own goals. So I have a notebook here. So in this notebook, you can see how many pages I've already filled out. This one's getting close to the end. And then I put these away. So I have 4 categories on here. So I have my business, I have my OCD stuff, I have my personal daily goals, and then I have my referral marketing goals, because I'm the president of a referral marketing group that called BNI. Maybe some people know about that, where I have different things I have to do and give teaching moments, and I speak to a group of people for an hour and 30 minutes once a week. And so I have these other goals. Inside my personal goals, I have a guy who hikes. If you don't follow me on there, it's a great page. Tied in with OCD, we kind of just go back and forth on that. So I do anywhere from 3 to 4 posts a day on that, and then I have reading goals. And then in my OCD recovery goals, I have my one-on-ones I had scheduled that day, when my next maybe Real Talk podcast is, Moment and the other guys and girls, when the webinars are upcoming. And then in my other one, business, I have everything I have to do with that, meetings, whoever it might be with a different provider, different patients I have to see, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then on top of that, what I like to do is I have Ray Dalio's, speaking about Ray Dalio's principles, he came out with a personal journal, a follow-along journal where you write your own principles. So I use this for my journal, and I'll just read you some of the stuff. I never read stuff in my journal, but I think sometimes it's cool. So this is on the page, there's principles, like a single principle. I'll read you the one on this page. It says, almost nothing can stop you from succeeding if you have flexibility and self-accountability. Flexibility is what allows you to accept what reality is or knowledge that people teach you. Self-accountability is essential because if you really believe that failing to achieve a goal is your personal failure, you will see your failing to achieve it as an indication that you haven't been creative, flexible, or determined enough to do what it takes. And you'll be motivated to find the way. So this is just what I wrote yesterday. I had a meeting with my assistant, and we were talking about delegating. So I stay on top of stuff like that because I have requirements owning a business, and anyone that owns a business, or you don't have to be a business owner, you could be someone, maybe you're a nurse in the hospital, you have requirements, you're a school teacher, you have requirements to your children that you teach. So I wrote, the failure of my principles comes down to me, and one of my main personal principles is patience, something I really, really struggled with my whole life. And then this is something I've gotten out of the book I'm reading now, called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a big book. I'm about halfway through. I love reading. I think reading's a lot of fun. This book does smell because I brought it into a cigar and cocktail lounge. And there you're just the book reeks like cigars. It's hilarious. So my principle, I put patience and discipline. I put an arrow down to my roles. And my roles in my life are a husband, a coach, a business owner, a friend. And then I have my goals, which is my fitness goals, my delegation goals, my growth goals, and everything like that. And this is something I got from the seven habits of highly effective people, where I thought, he said something that's really cool. A lot of people have goals and they accomplish a lot, but those goals have no direction. Again, this is not a right or wrong. I'm just telling you how I live my life. So I've been revamping this a little bit, and I have these personal principles that lead me to a role and what my role is, and then that dictates my goals and then the actionable steps. I'll read you a couple more principles if you guys want to hear that. It's really cool. Everyone has at least one big thing that stands in the way of their success. Find yours and deal with it. Write down what the one big thing is, such as identifying problems, designing solutions, pushing through the results, and why it exists. Your emotions trip you up. You can't visualize adequate possibilities. While you and most people probably have more than one major problem, you can remove it or get around that one, or that really big one. You will hugely improve your life. If you work on it, you will almost certainly be able to deal successfully with that one big thing. So I just think that's really cool, and I really enjoyed this book, this follow-along journal. I love educating myself. I like educating myself and applying different things. I always keep this book on my desk for all the one-to-ones I do. So I go through this a lot, and I go through this with the webinars, which many people know who come to those things. And that's basically how I structure my life. I exercise 5-6 days a week. I hike. I do take at least a day off, which is Thursday. It was usually a really busy day for me because that's when I have that referral marketing meeting. I try to be present. I don't try to force the present moment. When I'm hiking, I'm usually more naturally present. When I'm with my wife, I try to leave my phone downstairs. And these are all the things I do. Now, you don't have to do this. This can be a lot for certain people, and they might not want to live their life this structured. But I've gotten really good at going with the flow. And although I have this structure that keeps my life, because I have so many moving parts, right? I have the OCD recovery stuff. I have my personal stuff. I have my Instagram account. I have the content. I have my business with my wife, with a couple employees, which is growing. I have a lot of things that are moving around. And in order for me to have a better chance of juggling those things, it gives me a sense of accountability. Now, nothing I just talked about defines me or what I want. Now, these are my personal goals now, but then maybe 5 years from now, my personal goal might be to work 3 days a week and hike. Maybe my personal goal would be to make just enough money as a minimalist to get by, and just live in a tent or something. I don't know. These are my goals right now. These are the things I like to do, and I work towards accomplishing them. So the habits that you have are usually very important. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this with structure, or see us talk about this in an upcoming webinar, let me know. I also want to do a video where I pull out my bookshelf, since I'm going to be completely revamping the whole room. We got all new lights. We got a cool background. I can't wait for you guys to see new camera settings and everything. So it's going to look, finally, after a year of stuff, it's going to look really professional. And we're very excited about that. And that's what we have. So again, if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Have a good one, everyone.